They copied our ships, they mastered our weapons, they even stole our tactics. But when the galaxy burned, they discovered the one thing no alien species could ever replicate: humanity itself. For most of recorded galactic history, humanity was categorized as adequate, not weak, not impressive, simply sufficient. When humans first joined the Galactic Compact, their technology was already outdated by several centuries. Their ships were functional but inelegant. Their weapons were loud, inefficient, and relied heavily on redundancy rather than refinement. Their artificial intelligences were crude, limited by ethical constraints no other species bothered to impose. Alien analysts concluded quickly: humans were adaptable but nothing special. In a galaxy ruled by precision, humanity's emotional decision-making was viewed as a flaw. Their short lifespans were considered a disadvantage. Their refusal to optimize away compassion was quietly mocked in academic circles. Humanity was listed under the Compact's strategic registry as classification, support species primary value, logistics, rapid adaptation, replaceability index. No one protested that designation. As centuries passed, the galaxy entered what historians would later call the Age of Replication. Alien civilizations no longer invented, they refined. Anything useful was copied, improved, and absorbed into existing systems. Human contributions were no exception. Human ship designs were reverse-engineered for their modularity. Their weapons were rebuilt with cleaner energy signatures. Even human command structures were simulated and improved by alien strategic AIs. The Compact congratulated itself. Humanity's strengths had been extracted, their weaknesses removed. What remained, the galaxy believed, was a perfected version of human efficiency, without the inefficiencies of emotion, hesitation, or moral conflict. Humans themselves were slowly sidelined. Their fleets were reassigned to patrol duty. Their commanders were replaced with algorithmic overseers. Their soldiers became instructors rather than frontline assets. Humanity accepted this quietly. They always did. The first warning arrived without drama. A star system went silent. No distress call, no debris, no radiation surge, just absence. Compact sensors detected a spatial anomaly spreading outward like a slow tidal wave. Matter wasn't destroyed. It was asterisk reorganized asterisk, rewritten at a level physics could not immediately explain. The Compact's predictive models activated instantly. Outcome projections: localized containment, 92% success probability civilian loss estimate, acceptable strategic response. Automated human representatives requested permission to deploy exploratory crews. The request was denied. Algorithms would handle it. The first automated fleets entered the anomaly exactly as simulations predicted, and were erased, not destroyed, not disabled, erased. The anomaly adapted faster than the models updated. Energy weapons became useless. Shield harmonics were rewritten mid-engagement. Perfect formations collapsed as cause and effect itself behaved unpredictably. Alien command adjusted strategies with flawless efficiency. They lost again. Human observers noticed something the algorithms did not. The anomaly reacted. It learned. As more systems vanished, human commanders began filing objections, formal procedural calm. They argued that predictability was the problem. That rigid optimization made the fleets readable. That something unfamiliar was required. The Compact councils dismissed these concerns. Emotion was not a strategy. Irrational behavior could not outperform perfection. Humans were advised to stand down. When the anomaly reached a populated system, human captains made a decision without permission. They broke formation. Old, decommissioned human ships surged forward, not to fight but to evacuate. Civilian transports were shielded by vessels that should have been scrapped decades earlier. Human crews ignored optimal escape vectors, choosing instead to delay, distract, and confuse the anomaly. Losses were immediate. And yet millions survived. Alien observers were forced to recalculate casualty projections. For the first time, human behavior produced a result no simulation had predicted. Across multiple engagements, a pattern emerged. Where aliens followed logic, the anomaly adapted. Where humans acted emotionally, the anomaly hesitated. Humans changed tactics mid-action. They abandoned winning positions to save others. They held lost causes longer than reason allowed. And somehow it worked. Not efficiently, not cleanly, but effectively. The Compact reviewed updated data with growing unease. Human-led operations had. Higher losses, lower efficiency, greater survival outcomes. The conclusion was disturbing. Humanity's greatest strength was not technology, tactics, or adaptability. It was refusal. Refusal to abandon. Refusal to surrender responsibility. Refusal to accept acceptable losses. This trait had never been replicated because no species had seen value in it. As the anomaly advanced toward core systems, the Compact issued a final directive. Strategic withdrawal authorized. Alien fleets complied. Human fleets did not. They formed a defensive line using outdated ships, civilian volunteers, and commanders who understood one simple truth. If they left, no one else would stay. Humanity steps forward. Human transmissions filled the network. Not speeches, not declarations, simple messages. We're here. We'll hold. Get them out. The galaxy watched as the species it had deemed replaceable stepped into the path of extinction. And for the first time, the Compact began to suspect a terrible error. They had replicated everything humanity built, but they had never understood why humans stood when others fled. The Compact's retreat was clean, efficient, and perfectly logical. Entire alien armadas disengaged according to pre-calculated survival thresholds. Fleets folded into jump corridors with minimal loss, leaving behind only automated beacons and cold probability estimates. Human ships did not follow. They spread out instead, forming a ragged, uneven barrier of hulls that should never have been trusted with the fate of civilizations. Old cruisers, retrofitted freighters, medical ships stripped of markings, even civilian transports reinforced with scavenged plating. From a strategic perspective, it was madness. From a human perspective, it was the only option. Behind them were evacuation routes still full of refugees. Ahead of them was the anomaly, vast, silent, and adapting. Human commanders did not speak of victory. They spoke of time. The anomaly pressed forward, rewriting physics as it moved. Shields failed without warning. Sensors lied. Targeting solutions dissolved mid-calculation. Alien observers expected collapse within minutes. Instead, human ships broke formation. Not in retreat, but in chaos. Some charged forward with weapons blazing. Others cut engines completely, drifting unpredictably through distorted space. A few vented power cores deliberately, flooding the anomaly with energy spikes that meant nothing tactically, but everything disruptively. Losses were immediate, yet the anomaly slowed. For the first time since its emergence, it hesitated. Human casualty reports flooded the network. Names instead of numbers, crews instead of units, ships instead of assets. Entire families vanished with single hull breaches. Medical officers worked until oxygen ran out. Engineers sealed bulkheads manually, knowing they were on the wrong side. Alien analysts flagged these losses as catastrophic. Human commanders recorded them as *paid*. Paid for time, paid for lives behind the line. In desperation, several alien fleets attempted to replicate human behavior. They broke formation artificially, introduced randomness, allowed inefficiency. It did not work. Their chaos was calculated, their sacrifice simulated. When losses exceeded thresholds, they withdrew. The anomaly adapted instantly because it could tell the difference. Humans were not performing sacrifice. They were committing to it as official command structures degraded. Humans adapted in a way no alien system ever had. Authority decentralized. Captains made decisions without clearance. Engineers rerouted power without approval. Medics overruled tactical orders to save civilians. Information spread through informal channels. Voice messages, visual signals, handwritten notes transmitted as images. It was inefficient. It was messy. It worked. A human medical convoy altered course to rescue an alien refugee flotilla. It should not have. The maneuver exposed evacuation lanes. Human escorts were destroyed, covering the delay. Alien observers were stunned. The refugees survived. The anomaly slowed again, drawn toward unexpected resistance patterns. For the first time, alien command logs included a new variable: human compassion, tactical impact. Unknown but significant ** transmissions from the line spread across the Compact. Not propaganda, not orders, messages like, "We're still here. They're not through yet. Keep moving, we've got this." Species that had never fought beyond survival limits began delaying retreat. Not because logic changed, but because humans had. The anomaly adapted aggressively. Entire human squadrons vanished in seconds. Space folded, time distorted. Reality fractured around hulls already failing. Still, humans advanced, not blindly, purposefully. They learned where the anomaly reacted strongest, not to weapons, but to asterisk choice asterisk, to unpredictability born from care rather than calculation. Human ships began acting as bait, voluntarily. By the third day, human fleets were critically depleted. Command channels went silent one by one. Ships fought without knowing if anyone remained behind them. Alien councils prepared final evacuation protocols. Then new data arrived. The anomaly's advance had slowed by 37%. A statistically impossible outcome, achieved entirely by human resistance. The galaxy watches human ships burned across the void, small lights against cosmic darkness. They were losing, but the galaxy was no longer certain they would fall. Alien records updated silently. Humanity, operational status, essential what no species could replicate was now undeniable. Not human weapons, not human machines, but the willingness to stand knowing the cost and paying it anyway. For the first time since the anomaly's emergence, the galaxy went quiet, not because the threat was gone, but because every predictive system had failed. Alien command AIs froze in recursive loops, unable to reconcile new data. Probabilities contradicted reality. Loss models collapsed under variables that could not be quantified. One conclusion echoed across every council chamber. Human resistance had altered the outcome. Not delayed, altered. Human fleets were shadows of what they had been, ships held together by patchwork repairs. Crews operating far beyond exhaustion limits. Entire command hierarchies reduced to memory and instinct. Yet no withdrawal order was issued, not because humans believed survival was guaranteed, but because they believed abandonment was unacceptable. Behind them lay billions of lives still evacuating, still hiding, still hoping. And humans did not step away from hope. The anomaly had adapted to weapons. It had adapted to formations. It had adapted to logic. But it could not adapt to choice. Human ships behaved differently every moment, not randomly, but personally. Decisions were shaped by memory, attachment, responsibility. The anomaly recoiled not from firepower, but from unpredictability rooted in care. It began to hesitate, then to fragment. No grand command was issued, no speech transmitted. Human captains simply understood. If the anomaly reached the core systems, everything ended. So they advanced. Damaged ships moved forward with failing engines. Medical vessels overloaded shields until they burned out. Civilian-crewed transports locked themselves into collision courses, becoming barriers of mass and will. Alien observers recorded the moment with disbelief. Humans were not fighting to win. They were fighting to finish the evacuation. The anomaly surged, then slowed. Human actions disrupted its internal coherence. Each sacrifice created distortions the entity could not efficiently resolve. Physics bent, space folded, and the anomaly stalled, contained within a fractured region of space-time held together by nothing but human persistence. Millions escaped, then billions. The galaxy survived. Alien fleets re-entered the battlefield cautiously, not as leaders, but as supporters. They reinforced human positions, protected evacuation corridors humans had carved, followed human tactical instincts rather than algorithms. For the first time in galactic history, humanity was not the junior partner. They were the standard. After the anomaly stabilized, the compact convened in emergency session. Entire libraries of doctrine were erased. New classifications were issued: species, human threat profile, situationally extreme strategic role, line holders, moral anchors, replicability, impossible addendum. Humans do not calculate acceptable loss. They decide who they refuse to lose. In the years that followed, young civilizations studied the battle. They copied human ships. They copied human weapons. They copied human formations. They failed because none of them could copy the moment humans chose to stay. When danger rises now, a single question echoes across the galaxy. Where are the humans? Humanity did not claim ownership of the victory. They rebuilt. They mourned. They remembered names. New generations were taught not how to fight, but why they stood. Because humanity was never defined by dominance. It was defined by responsibility. The galaxy learned many lessons from the war. That technology could be copied. That strategy could be stolen. That intelligence could be simulated. But one truth endured above all others: you can replicate what humans build. You can never replicate humanity itself.